So we've got some great choices from the vault today. I decided to bring 3 or 4 watches that come in at under the $5,000 price point that I think are really cool, fun watches, off the beaten path, I guess, a little bit that not everybody would sort of expect. So, you know, no Rolex here, but just some fun watches that I hope you guys enjoy. So I'm going to start things off with a bang. This right here is a TAG Heuer Monaco limited edition that was done for the Automobile Club of Monaco. So you've got here an all-black PVD coated case. You've got that sort of punctured leather strap, you know, I guess it's calfskin. It would be calfskin.
The interesting thing is the original versions always came with some sort of 1970s style synthetic that always looked and felt disappointing in person. So all of the re-editions and tributes have come with the real thing, calfskin. Like Brian says, it feels better, it looks better, and believe it or not, it lasts longer than the synthetic. And for me today, TAG Heuer is a luxury brand, whereas in the 60s and 70s, you could have perhaps poised it as more of a utility watch or practical implement. The calfskin's appropriate, and so is the build quality of this one. I have to be honest, although it's not the fabled Calibre 11, it's a lot tougher. Those Calibre 11s are finicky things.
Yeah, and we spoke a little bit about the Dark Lord last week, which is one of the most collectible TAG Heuers that are made. So you obviously can see the inspiration notes that came from that watch. What I also really like about this watch is that it's a limited edition that they did that doesn't scream limited edition. The only thing that you have is that sort of coat of arms on the back that's printed on the sapphire crystal that really, lets you know that it's, limited to a particular organization or was for a particular organization. But nonetheless, I just think that the watch was beautifully executed, and it's a watch that certainly could, that they could come back out with now in a different edition that would do great. But I think that this is one of those TAG Heuer pieces that, that's great to have in any collection, and it's still, undervalued in the marketplace.
And you get a full clasp, a deluxe feature for a watch that's quite accessibly priced.
Moving on, next piece, we have the Tudor Black Bay Bronze. So Tudor Black Bay Bronze, 43 millimeters, bronze case, aluminum bezel. Everybody that's watching this show should know what the Black Bay is. If not, this is sort of the, call it, centerpiece of Tudor's current product offering. So the color of the bronze is similar to that what you would expect of any bronze watch. What's beautiful though is that sort of brown aluminum bezel, which will patina over time, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love the Black Bay watches. Is they could have just as easily gone with ceramic, but they went with aluminum so that it shows wear and it'll show age and it'll age nicely.
I will also say this, the specific bronze alloy that Tudor used with this watch, which came out at Basel World 2016, by the way. So all the pre-owned examples you see are still under warranty. But the nice thing about this particular bronze is that there are things you can do to accelerate its patina and its aging, but because it has a very high aluminum content and is designed out of the gate to age minimally, if you wear it responsibly and don't sweat like a pig all over it, it's not going to age like a Panerai PAM 382. You get to decide effectively how much or how little your bronze watch will patina, and that's a consequence of the alloy that Tudor uses to make the bronze. It's also a big, bold Heritage Black Bay. 43 millimeters, it's large on the wrist.
Mm-hmm. And that brown is like, it's not a prototypical brown. It's like a brownish black, which I really like, and I like the option because, for me personally, brown is like a major commitment to make on a watch. I think that it's, it's not as transitional as even a black, a silver, or a white, even a blue. So I think that brown's definitely a commitment, and with a dial like this that verges on black, I think that it makes the watch, a lot more wearable with a lot more different things.
I'll also say this, guys. Remember, this is in-house caliber, 70-hour power reserve, COSC chronometer. It's got the silicone hairspring. It's built like a Rolex movement with a free-sprung balance and a full balance bridge. So this is a tough watch. This is not a bronze watch you need a baby. Let me give a quick shout-out to our friends who are joining us from around the world. Eddie Landsberg, first by far. Lavishly Fat, welcome. I appreciate your self-deprecation, or maybe it's just honesty. Andrew Holt, Shannon, welcome. AH, David Cahill, Steve Pesco. I can see Thumper JDM, John Sai, Matt Forster, Tom Hung, Eric Cecil. Welcome, guys. All right, let's take some questions live from the chat
Real
box.
quick on JBO Surf's comment, I just want to sort of agree with you wholeheartedly that the Bucher edition is probably the nicer iteration of the two, and I can only hope that they should come out with that watch, like, for broad appeal. Like, I never understand the decision to making a watch like that and have it be so difficult for people to get, because I just think that, like, you could sell so many more.
It's true. Bucher may be the largest watch vendor in Switzerland, but stateside, I mean, we're hurting for that blue. Come on, guys. Tudor, you're the only company that hasn't embraced blue as a pandering sop to the market. Indulge us, please.
Yeah, and especially in a watch like that, like, I can understand doing a limited or something along those lines with a store or with a different market, but on a watch like that where it's like, okay, let's say you did a limited green, I get it, but on something that is such a almost iconic color and you don't have something like that in your collection, it just seems like it's a no-brainer. Like, it's like if anything, it annoys people.
The weird thing is that they did the Heritage Chrono Blue before blue was a thing, and now that blue is a thing and it's maybe done to death, Tudor's not really doing it.
It's pretty much like, I feel like in like the design like rooms of the brands now, it's sort of like, what watch can we take and just put a blue dial on it? And it's like, this one.
It's like during the 2000s, the thing was like, what can we put a tourbillon? Okay, a dive watch.
Jaeger's True Second blue, though, is nice.
It is.
It is. Yeah. It's nice. I mean, you know, I think that the watch, I think, caught a little bit of a, you know, a blip in the market, you know, and, you know, ultimately, I think that the blue limited to 100 pieces should do very well.
I would also say this, kind of lightning in a bottle. You look at it and you think, you know, this is what it should have been from the beginning.
Yeah.
So I would say between the two Richemont 100-piece online boutique exclusives this year, Jaeger LeCoultre 1, Panerai 0. I'm liking the JLC more than I like the 731, but they're both good. All right, here's a question from Clive. Was blue once not a thing? What color was the sky then? Well, I'll tell you this. They used to make you pay for blue. I have a Grand Memovox from 2001 that was part of a JLC commemorative set, 250 pieces of each model, but each model was in platinum. To get the blue dial, you had to pay big. In general, blue has always been reserved for an upscale, fully optioned model, so you usually see it in white gold or you usually see it in platinum. What's new today is that blue's on everything, every genre and every
metal. Blue's also synonymous
metal.
with limited editions, and it's synonymous with boutique pieces. So I think that you have AP in particular transitioned all their blue dials to being boutique only. You have blue being a very important dial color for platinum Pateks that goes back a long time.
True.
You've got...
It goes back to the French monarchy,
exactly.
Bourbon blue.
I mean, it's, you know, it's, and again, that sort of then trickles down and translates to a lot of other watches. So when people come to associate, you know, the hardest to get watches, the AP Jumbo, the 5711 as blue dial pieces, that then sends the message for other watches that have blue dials that they hope to steal a little bit of that thunder,
We have a great question from Sebastian R. Sebastian's asking, what is the heaviest watch out there? I'm going to come out and say it's probably the 42mm Royal Oak Offshore full bracelet. This is a watch that's new over the last year. It has a beautiful...
The platinum.
It has a beautiful gradient dial.
Yeah. So it's the platinum variation of the watch. I believe we just took one in, but it's all platinum. I mean, it's crazy.
Watch you want, or it's not watch you want, it was watch you want.
Box.
It's watch box. Watch you want is now watch box. Keeps ticking his watch box. Come on, know it, Tim. Bottom line is watch box. Watchbox watch reviews will have the triumphant return of What's It Weigh. We haven't had it since Florida. It's coming back, folks, and that's going to be our debut heavyweight contender. I'd be shocked.
We got to bring back What Does It Weigh?
What does it weigh?
What does it weigh?
That was a popular feature. Hodinkee copied that. That's how good it was. All right, guys. Moving along. Let's go with super color. Let's go with crazy color.
Fine. We're gonna bring out the Alain Silberstein.
Okay. From about 1988 to 2012, Alain Silberstein, a Frenchman who started as an architect and became a watch brand chieftain, built his own crazy, quirky watches. Now, while they generally had a sort of Mondrian-esque color scheme, they were not pure primary colors. You can see that those hands are almost like a Riviera blue. The chronograph seconds hand looks all sorts of crazy, warped, almost like a wave in space, with a signal yellow worthy of a airfield ambulance. Everything about these watches was nutty, kind of a blend of Mondrianesque de style with Dadaism. The watches were all distinctive, and you can see this watch, the Bolido Krono, powered by a Frédéric Piguet 1185 automatic column wheel vertical clutch chronograph, was one of the largest watches of the 1990s. Though it's only 46 millimeters lug to lug and 34 millimeters across, you know what? This was compared with the Panerai Luminor and the Royal Oak Offshore back in the day, when big watches really were not a thing. And it was crazy, with huge Broncard-style flanks, that wonderfully distorting cambered crystal, and then these wonderful hinge lugs. The watch was made in France, and I would have to say, if ever a watch exuded a French sensibility, it's this thing. These are collectible watches now. I feel someday, partly because Alain Silberstein is coming back into style, and partly because he was ahead of his time, these will be collectible watches. Ask MBNF about that one.
No, I mean, I think it's wickedly cool, and I think that this is the sort of the watch when a known watch guy is wearing the watch, it's like, oh my God, that's so cool. And if a guy is not a watch guy wearing the watch, they're like, what the hell is he wearing? So I agree with you that I think that he was way too ahead of his time. I think that with the influence that art is now having on the watch market and how they're sort of converging and mixing a lot more now, that the influence that he had will, I think, start translating into more pieces.